this. All right, everybody, we are live with the Working Fans podcast. It's Dave and AJ. Hey, why don't you come over a little bit more here? We can get you in here.
Hello, ladies.
All right, Val Venus in the house, baby. How we doing? All right, so guys, welcome to the Working Fans podcast. We're going to talk about some WWE Raw, Ricky Saints, Oba Femi, our 6-year anniversary. We'll talk about that, but this week I want to get started by talking about Outcast Wrestling Revolution. They're going to be at Ledyard Middle School in Ledyard, Connecticut, if you're in the area. All right. Tickets, VIP, $30. General admission, $20. Student and military, only $15. All right. Some of the great matches on here. We got the veteran Shane Mercer versus the fast rising Kylon King. We got a ladies match here too, AJ. We got the women's platinum championship, Zenta Zenith. Zion versus Big Juicy. I like that. All right. That looks
like Big and Juicy.
Yeah. So, there's going to be some other matches on here. Buff Inc. will probably be there. Oh, man. This is going to be fun. So, and another one, Lou Jacobs. All right. Who's going to be there. He's the promoter. He's wrestling. He has a breakdancing background. And so does his opponent, Benny Blanco. And Lou's fiance at the last show actually turned on him and hit him in the nuts. So this is going to be interesting. This is going to be wild. Go ahead, AJ.
Do me a favor. If you're in New England, get yourself to Ledyard Middle School Saturday night. It's going to be this Saturday night. It is October 4th. October 4th. Ledyard Middle School, 6 p.m. If you're in New England, drive your ass there. If you're in Cleveland, Ohio, fly your ass there because nobody wants to be in Cleveland. It's going to be the biggest card of Saturday night.
And I've been to Outcast Wrestling Revolution shows before. This will be AJ's first. Let me tell you this, guys. One thing I love about Outcast Wrestling Revolution is you have your local talent, but you also have people coming in from Texas sometimes, all across the state, all across the country, a lot of different type of wrestlers. It's something for everybody. It's a real family-friendly type show, too. A lot of interaction. So bring the kids. It's going to be a good time. Can't tell you enough. WrestleMania, guys, I've worked with these people before. They're awesome. Can't wait to check it out. I think AJ wants to say one more thing.
Is anybody flying in from Cleveland?
I'm not sure. We'll find out. Also, it's our 6-year anniversary, pal. I guess it was AEW Dynamite's 6-year anniversary, but so what? It was the Working Fans podcast 6-year anniversary. And AJ, Joe mentioned this on one of the shorts he did, that basically that he thought the biggest thing in the last 6 years was the creation of AEW in terms of wrestling business. Now, I'm putting you on the spot. We didn't go over this. What would you say would be some of the biggest things in the past 6 years?
I mean, obviously, that's a big one in the last 6 years, AEW coming together and giving another place, a platform for wrestlers to really be on a national scale. We've seen so many big things. I mean, Tony Khan has purchased Ring of Honor, so now they have a platform. We've seen the growth of places like Game Changer Wrestling. We've seen local indies now getting a chance with the WWE ID, where now they're actually getting to work under the WWE banner, which is growing wrestling. We've seen Vince McMahon no longer the head of the WWE. How is that not one of the largest things that may have ever happened?
That's the one I was actually thinking. Vince McMahon leaving WWE and not being involved. I mean, look at the things that's happened now. Triple H is now doing business with TNA. They've bought AAA. These are all huge things in the last 6 years. These are all huge things really that's happened in the last 2 years. So, hey, I'll throw another one out there. Roman Reigns had a WWE World Championship for almost 4 years. I never thought we'd see that, and that's happened in the last 6 years.
Two-thirds of the 6 years. 2/3 of the 6 years, Roman Reigns was champion.
He's in the top 4 longest. He passed Pedro Morales. I think Bruno, Hogan and Backlund are the only ones that are ahead of him.
I mean, something like that would make me want to compare wrestlers.
Yes. Hey, all right. We're going to do that now. I like the segue, kid. All right. Dusty Rhodes and Bruno Sammartino. Who was the bigger legend? Who was the better overall professional wrestler? These are two guys. I'll pass it to you in a second here, but these are two guys not really known necessarily for their in-ring wrestling. They could work a crowd, and both guys, I think AJ and I talked about this off air. They're the kind of guys that are going to go, you might think everything else on this show was bullshit, but we're going to make you think we're real. AJ and I have both been partial to Dusty. We grew up more with Dusty, but we can look at it objectively. AJ, what do you think when you look about him in-ring wise? Again, neither guy a mat technician.
So this is an interesting one because a lot of times when we try to compare greatest of all time, we can't compare because they're in different generations or it's hard to – They overlapped a lot. You're talking about literally 12 years of overlapping. Obviously, Bruno was heading towards the end of his career. Dusty was heading into his prime. But you have a lot of overlapping there. It's easy to say Bruno because of the championship and because of how long he held it. We just talked about the fact he is the longest reigning champion of all time. However, a lot of that is due to the politics of being an Italian wrestler in a New York market, and Dusty was a legitimate world champion, even though there were 3 short reigns. You're talking about somebody who literally was traveling all over the world defending his title. Bruno basically defended in Pittsburgh, New York, Philadelphia, in the Northeast. So you can almost say one is a real world's champion and one is the ECW world's champion.
Now, that's an interesting analogy. Now, I have done Bruno comparisons before online. And I have not a lot, but enough people have told me that any true historian is going to tell you Bruno was the biggest legend because of all the box office he sold at the Garden. And they always point to how many times he sold out the Garden. Now, before I get into the bigger legend, I will say in terms of wrestling ability, it's hard. But if you're going to look at wrestling ability, we're not going to just talk in ring. We're going to talk about charisma, personality, and all that stuff. Very few people are going to touch Dusty Rhodes.
I would like to actually attack that Garden thing real quick here.
I was going to get to that, so hold on. I'll get you on the gun here. All right, and I know, by the way, some of those, how many times he sold the Garden is somewhat disputed, although there's no disputing that it is a lot and probably more than any wrestler.
No Billy Joel.
Yeah, all right. But, Bruno and Dusty both made you feel they were real. I think Dusty just has a little more charisma. And when you look at his promos, they kind of keep going on. And you look at what Dusty gave back to the industry and what he did with training the kids at NXT. I kind of go with Dusty as overall the bigger legend and the better wrestler. But God, at least when it comes to the bigger legend and box office, there is an argument for Bruno. AJ wants to attack his MSG record. I don't know why, but go ahead.
First of all, Helen, get me a knife. I'm going to poke some holes in this real quick. First of all, yes, he did sell out MSG, and he continued to sell it out. But what percentage of the New York market actually does it take to sell out MSG? Dusty Rhodes sold out markets in more than one place. Bruno sold out one city. One city with a large arena, and MSG is not even that big of a fucking arena. Here's the other thing. Dusty Rhodes sold out. He took trips around the world and sold out. Now, I'm going to disagree with you on one thing. You say Dusty has more charisma. Dusty has more charisma to us. Bruno had just as much charisma to the New York Italian people. He was recognizable to them. He was their common man, similar to Dusty was our common man. He was the son of a plumber. Bruno was the son of an immigrant in New York City, even though he lived in Pennsylvania. But he was the son of an immigrant, and he connected with those people in the same way. So I actually disagree. I think they had the same level of charisma. They just didn't have the same level of charisma to us.
We'll throw one other thing out there. I got informed, too, by somebody online that haters will sometimes point out that Bruno was just a regional guy, but he was actually a former Canadian heavyweight champion, too, and got blackballed in Canada because Vince McMahon Sr. was not happy that he was competing there.
So one of the things people might not know, because you might not be familiar with the history of Canada, Canada actually, especially towards Toronto area, has a very large Italian population.
Yeah.
My soon-to-be former father-in-law, he actually, when he came over from Italy, came down through Canada and had to live there first while waiting to become a U.S. citizen. So that was almost like a launching part for people to come into the U.S. So once again, Bruno Sammartino had a very good market there.
So I think we're saying Dusty and Bruno are tied in charisma. We think Dusty might be slightly the better wrestler overall.
I'm actually saying that Dusty actually sold out more places than Bruno. Selling out one arena, it doesn't make you great. Selling out arenas all around the world and being so, even when Dusty wasn't the champ, people would pack arenas around the world to see him.
But it was the Garden, baby. It's the Garden.
I think the Garden is the most overrated place on the planet.
But I will say this: in a shoot fight, I got Bruno all day.
Oh, that's not even close. Bruno Sammartino was one of the strongest human beings. He was a power lifter. Yeah. Even later in life, when he had trimmed down, he was immensely powerful. He would have killed Dusty.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, not that Dusty was, a weak man by any stretch, but Bruno was a different kind of animal, different kind of powerhouse.
Yeah, that elbow would not have done well against the bear hug.
All right, let's talk about bear hugs and elbows. Let's talk about WWE Raw. Roman Reigns returns last night, and I'm going to pop some notes out here. And I'm going to leave this picture up during this segment while I talk to AJ because I want to break down some of this. The show opened with Rhea Ripley. And she basically calling out Asuka and Kairi Sane. And at this point, Rhea's fired up. Io Sky comes out. And I have to say, this is where it was interesting to me. When I see Io Sky cutting a promo and she's still torn. All right. I like the layers of this storyline where it's not just, okay, the heck with Asuka. I'm with Team Rhea now. Io's conflicted because of all the years. And then we see the Kabuki Warriors. Kairi Sane and Asuka still willing to give Io a chance, but not Rhea. It's too late for her. Rhea says you can go to hell. And what struck me as interesting here, before they come out and they brawl, was we talked about this in an earlier segment, but, Vince McMahon leaving. How many times can you remember this many people speaking in broken English in a promo? Like, this is where it really sticks out. And this is over. Like, people are loving this right now.
Well, not only them, but obviously Stephanie Vaquer. You have a lot of people right now that are being given a chance, which is fantastic and always is. I love the fact that they said, hey, listen, we still want you to be part of our family. All you have to do is apologize for making me hit you.
Yes.
That's literally the definition of an abusive relationship. Why do you make me hit you?
Yeah. And I mean, all you have to do is like Kairi Sane is clearly being gaslighted by Asuka. And Kylie, after this, they come to the ring and they attack Ripley. Io leaves, and Io just comes back to help Rhea, but she pulls them off, and then Asuka displays the miss in Sky's eyes without even thinking about it. But Sane is still conflicted. She doesn't want to attack Io Sky. She's okay with Ripley, apparently, but not Sky. She wants them to be a family again. Not going to happen, it looks like. We go on to the next segment. Our first match, Rusev versus Dominic Mysterio. Interesting matchup. They're both kind of heels, but what I thought was fascinating by this was, besides the fact that I did like the big man and the little man thing, was the more Dom was able to come back in this match and the more he cheated, the more he got cheered.
He's starting to get that Eddie Guerrero lie, cheat, and steal heat. He's not getting booed anymore. If you notice, when he goes to do an interview segment, they're not booing to the point where he can't speak anymore. They've changed completely.
I literally have in my notes, Dom lies, cheats, and steals his way to victory in this. He basically throws the chair back to Rusev at Eddie Guerrero's spot. Referee catches him, so he's not doing it like Eddie. But then he grabs the referee so the ref can't see. Low blows Rusev, pulls the tights. The crowd goes crazy for Dom.
But once again, that's something Eddie has done. If you look back, you'll see matches where it looks like he's getting caught with the chair, and he uses either the back heel for the blow. I really like where this is going. Dominic has developed tremendously, and I think he's then going to end up being a huge babyface.
We see some promo packages to pump up the Crown Jewel event between Cody and Seth. We look at the history. One interesting to note there, Cody does say, I had to leave WWE to find myself and become a different person. I needed to do that 6 years ago, and that's why I am where I'm at. I think that's another thing. Would that have made the cut if Vince was still around? Probably not. We go to Lyra Valkyria. She says no more second chances to Bayley after Bayley shoved on her butt. Bayley looks like she doesn't remember what happened. We go to Raquel versus Bayley. Raquel actually gets the win with the help of Roxanne raking Bayley's eyes. Lyra comes out to help, much like we saw earlier with the women's segment. She seems conflicted, but does help. And then she gets outnumbered, but Bayley comes back aggressive again, lays out Raquel and Roxanne, and then aggressively picks up Lyra and says, come on, we go. Who's got this? We won. And again, in the women, we're seeing more complex storylines. And I got to say, kind of the highlight of the show so far.
I think the women are the better storylines on Raw thus far, and that might be the trend for the night. LA
Knight was in the back talking to Pierce. He gets interrupted by the New Day. Kingston explains to LA Knight he's never been a world champion. I've been a world champion, something you're not. LA Knight says, well, that's something you're probably never going to be. Both guys are not wrong here, probably. At the end of the day, we have a match. LA Knight wins. I enjoyed it. They're keeping LA Knight relevant, but AJ, I'll ask you, gun to your head, is LA Knight going to be a WWE World Champion, you think, at this point in his career?
Absolutely not. I don't think there's a chance of him. I mean, there's always a chance, but I don't think there's a very good chance of him becoming a world champion. And I think that upsets a lot of people because a lot of people really like him.
Yeah, I agree. Super popular. Never count him out. But right now, it just doesn't seem like there's so many stacked people who are younger right now and equally popular that I just don't think it's going to be his time. Sky and Rhea are backstage talking. Earlier in the night, too, I didn't talk about this, but Sane had approached Sky again about we can still be a family, and she left this picture of Sky, Sane, and Asuka when they were all younger, possibly even in Stardom. But at the end of the day, Sky says no more. They're not my family, and she says you can trust me, Rhea. When Rhea asks if you could, can I trust you? Sky says you can trust me. I got this. I want to say actually she can, but that's totally a no-no. When you say you can trust me, you usually can't. Again, interesting storyline by the women.
There is no bigger red flag in professional wrestling than one person saying to another, you can trust me. That usually ends in something horrible.
We then go on to Dragon Lee and AJ Styles in the ring together. Dragon Lee talks about his upcoming match with Dom Mysterio for the AAA Mega title, and AJ wants to thank the fans because now he has a match with John Cena, and he can do something he loves to do, and that's beat up John Cena.
Who doesn't?
So that's pretty cool. This leads to a match with the Los Americanos now, which is Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne under mask, Widow Grande Americano, and I believe they're now being called Bravo and Rio. It was a fun match. Obviously, both guys under the mask are very capable, and actually super capable when you think they're wrestling opposite of the style they usually wrestle. But at the end, I really did like this time combination of Dragon Lee and AJ Styles. They used Dragon Lee did a backdrop into AJ doing a Styles clash. Pretty cool. Great teamwork here. Looking forward to AJ Styles and John Cena. But does AJ beat John Cena at Crown Jewel?
There's no way in hell AJ is going over John Cena after the beating he just took from Brock Lesnar. But I also would like to point out that you are being grossly negligent in referring to Los Americanos as Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates. There is no proof whatsoever as to them being those people, and I think it's a shame.
Continuing with this show, Stephanie McCurry was backstage. She was interviewing, again, another broken English promo. Crowd loves her, and Tiffany Stratton interferes, and they're getting hyped up for Crown Jewel. Seth Rollins. Oh, you know what I did not put down here I overlooked was Becky Lynch actually beat up Maxine Dupree in the back and Cesaro because why not? You got to beat them both up, right?
In fairness, she cheap shot at both of them.
She did. But anyway, in the main event, we see the Usos versus our favorite team, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed. Great matchup, really physical. But the big story here was it was no DQ. So as Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed are getting the upper hand, Roman Reigns returns, helps his team, his family get the win. He's beating up Bronson Reed and he's beating up Braun Breaker with a chair. Jey Uso gets the spear splash pin. But what's interesting is if we look at the photo I've had up this whole time, Jimmy Uso kind of looks like the odd man out here. Is it just me?
It is not just you. He is the odd man out, and I think that this is going to go somewhere with this. I would like to ask you a question. What was the main event of Raw last week?
Last week, the main event of Raw.
I'm pretty sure it was a tag match with Bronson Reed and the dog-faced gremlin, Braun Breaker versus Jimmy and LA Knight.
Right. And so that's been a thing of contention, the fact that Jimmy's had LA Knight's back.
What was the main event the week before?
I don't remember. It
was Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker versus a forced Jey Uso and LA Knight. So 3 weeks in a row, we've sat through different versions of this tag match. But no, Raw's not getting old and stale at all.
I think a lot of people didn't like this Raw that I talked to, but mostly I think it had to do with the women's segments. That being said, Roman Reigns being back was a big deal to a lot of people too. But I know where you're getting with this. Something has to be changed in the Uso dynamic and everything. Now, I'll ask you this, though. Is the vision stale? I
think the vision is stale, primarily because they're not actually a group. A lot of times you'll see Braun Breaker and you'll see Bronson Reed come out, and they come out with Paul. And then later in the show, you'll see Seth Rollins come out with Paul. And then you'll see Paul come out with Paul. Yeah. But very seldom do they actually work as a group. And what in the hell is going on with Brock Lesnar?
That is interesting, and that may affect the vision as we go on. Brock Lesnar is a beast. But you know who else is a beast? Oba Femi. I want to talk a little bit about two more subjects here. NXT No Mercy was this weekend, and the big story was Oba Femi losing the title to Ricky Saints. What's next for Oba Femi here, pal?
I think he's going to get a decent push, hopefully, on the main roster. I think that he's got all the tools to get there. His mic skills, to me, are a little underrated. I think people think that he's a one-trick pony, but I think he can talk, and he definitely can work.
I think you're right. I think the great thing about him is he's great at making people believe. Like we talked about with Bruno and Dusty, some of the legends earlier. You believe Oba Femi, and you can say he's a one-trick pony, but he knows his gimmick, and he seems to have his gimmick down. So
to me, you can make him either an ass-kicking heel, or you could bring him out and actually make him an ass-kicking babyface.
All right, so. All right, we look forward. Hopefully, big things for Oba Femi. We'll see if he's leaving NXT soon. Sometimes we think they're leaving, and then they still end up doing more stuff down in NXT, so you never know. But in the meantime, do you want to add one more thing about Oba?
Yeah, I want to add one more thing. Guys, don't forget, Saturday at 6 p.m., WrestleVania, Outcast Wrestling coming to you. They're going to bring all the action, just like Ricky Saints brought all the action. They're going to do it too.
That's right, and it'll be 6 p.m. start, WrestleVania. $30 tickets, VIP, general admission, $20. Student and military get in for $15. Bell time, 6 o'clock. Guys, we're going to have Shane Mercer versus Kylon King. A lot of great matches on the show. Go ahead, AJ.
You keep forgetting to mention something. We're going to be there too. So stop in, say hi to us, let us know how much you enjoy the show. And you know what? We'll give you a free hug.
He'll give you a free hug. If you ask me, I'll give you a free hug. It's got to be consensual. Let's talk about consensual. Let's talk about Ricky Saints. He's a star, baby. Former NWA TV champion, former FTW world champion, now former NXT North American champion and current NXT heavyweight champion. Ricky Starks, did he make a good move by going to WWE or what?
You missed a couple belts. You also had the TNT championship. You had the FTW championship.
I said FTW. I forgot TNT. Go ahead.
My bad. Well, leave it to Dave to mention the belt that doesn't exist and leave alone the major championship. But Ricky Saints is one of the best wrestlers on the planet. He is smooth as silk in the ring. He's going to have great matches with people. He's going to actually give it the JC Jane feel because I think he's somewhat going to be a beatable champion. And people are going to have doubts, especially if he goes up against monsters. When he goes up against people like Josh Briggs, they're going to have a lot of size on him. So people are going to have doubts in those matches. And I'm looking forward to it. Even people like Shawn Spears now becomes a viable championship contender because of Ricky Saints. And also Ethan Page becomes another viable champ again.
Absolutely. I like what's going on right now with Ricky Sainz. I like what's going on with NXT because I do feel a lot of these champions do have that beatable quality, but I like that. The one who did it was Oba Femi, but now that Oba Femi's not the champ, I feel like it's a little more exciting, a little more open. Guys, that was our 6-year anniversary. I just want to say it's been nice. The time has flown by. We've accomplished a lot of things I don't know that I thought we would have accomplished. Wrestling commentary, friggin' interviewing people like Stevie Ray, Tito Santana. AJ, what do you want to say about our 6 years?
First of all, 6 years. It's been big. It's been red hot. Producer Joe, we couldn't have done it without you, buddy. We're sorry you're not here with us today. Man called Dave, once again, rocking it. I know I've been a little MIA for a little while, but it's good to be back home. And quite frankly, I'm looking forward to another 6 years. But don't forget, Saturday night, come and see us.
Saturday comes in, but he took my thunder. I also want to thank Producer Joe because without Producer Joe, none of this is possible. So, Joe, no, you couldn't make this episode, but I know you're also doing that work for us. And yes, AJ, Saturday night, WrestleMania, October 4th, Ledyard Middle School, 6 o'clock, Outcast Wrestling Revolution. Guys, we'll see you there. Thanks for tuning into the Working Fans Podcast.
Bye.